What it is, guys, it is your boy Maurice. It's been quite a while since I've posted any videos that has anything to do with RC cars in general. And, I've been busy with life. I've been going to college and whatnot. So I've just been dealing with other things and, doing my other hobbies and interests. So I've been thinking that maybe I can go back and do this kind of stuff because I do still have a passion for this kind of thing. And I really do think it's cool. I do enjoy it for sure. Tinkering with nitros is awesome. Just messing around with it. It's all part of the hobby. I'm sure a lot of you people who are into nitro engines can relate. And what I have here, if you guys remember, is the Sportsworks Mayhem. I haven't messed with it for a very long time. And I am willing to get it up and running again. I just need to replace its parts, fix up the engine because the engine has a crack in it or something like that. Just figure out what to do. But in the meantime, this isn't the topic of discussion. The topic of discussion is getting into Nitro, getting into RC Nitro. For those of you out there who are interested in RC Nitro, I'm sure that you guys already know that it's been long gone. It's been dead. The majority, in my opinion, the majority of people who like RC cars, who just enjoy racing, or just enjoy RC cars in general, just have it as a hobby, most of them are bashing. Those people that are bashing are most definitely using electric, unless they're like in other countries or whatnot. But I feel like in my opinion, a lot of people just mess with gas, like big fifth scale gas trucks and gas cars, or they'll just upgrade the hell out of an electric. Sorry. As for nitro, people do mess with nitro for the nostalgia, but to be honest, unless you have like a high-end engine or whatnot, you're spending a lot of the time just tuning the engine, trying to make it run well, trying to make every part of it good. You're tinkering with it a lot, and it's always gonna mess up or something. Unless you have a perfect tune or you know your way around an engine, you can make it perform better. But a default standard average engine, you're probably spending a lot of time tuning it, unless you tune it correctly. There's people who don't tune it correctly, and there's people who do tune it correctly. There's people who don't break in their engine correctly. There's people who do break in their engine correctly. So there's a lot of factors that's involved with getting into nitro. But to be honest with you, in my opinion, I think it's awesome. It's all part of the experience and the hobby. If you just want to mess around, if you just want to, play with a car, I understand. Get an electric. There's no harm in that. In fact, I'm getting a new electric soon, which I'll be making videos for that, and it's a Tamiya. But nitro, it's not even about riding it. It's not even about driving it. It's about understanding the concept, understanding how it works, dabbling into mechanical stuff, It's like you're engineering it. You're not engineering it. You're not building anything. It's already built, but it's something you're learning about. And putting the effort into making an engine run well makes you appreciate what it is a lot better, a lot more. I think it helped me become more passionate in this sort of thing, this sort of hobby. And I'm not bashing electrics at all. Electrics is cool, but for those of you who really like to just fix stuff and understand how things work, and you're passionate for just the not architecture, but you know what I mean, just passionate for it, I think there's nothing wrong with going into nitro. I do believe that it's dead as a hobby, but for racing, it's definitely still around. For a guy like me that lives in New York City too, being in New York City, you're not going to see anybody running RCs. People go out of the city. It being an expensive hobby, people won't be in the city doing these kind of things a lot, at least in New York City. Or if they are, it's usually electrics. And there's barely any tracks. Tracks have closed down over the years in New York City. So for you to really go to a real full-scale track, you'd have to go to like upstate New York, go to Jersey, I believe, to really find something to get the best out of your nitro or your electric or gas. But anyways, with that all aside, let's get more into nitro. I'd say with nitro, those of you who don't have any experience with nitro, I'd say understand what you're getting into. You got to understand that it's a real engine, so you have to take care of it. And you have to understand that it's more than just racing it. You're going to spend time having to break it in, doing all of this and that. There's a step-by-step process before you just have fun. You know, there's tuning needles on the carburetor. It's carbureted, by the way. And there's tuning needles on it. You have to make sure that it's at factory settings to get the best experience for what's suggested by the company. But if you really want it to run to your liking, just keep that in mind, that you can risk messing up the way the engine rides. But, if you're experienced in it, it's something that you can definitely do. But just keep in mind, if you're getting a nitro in this day and age, you won't find a lot of people that's doing what you're doing as a bashing hobby kind of thing, unless you're in specific states, like certain states. But if you're in more of like a city or like just a place that doesn't really have that kind of thing, you're not going to meet a lot of people that's using nitro. And don't be discouraged from it, but it's just something that's the truth. And what else? It's not only the tuning and the bashing, but also understand that a lot of companies that used to make a lot of nitros are not making them anymore. A lot of nitro models are discontinued. And to get parts, it could be hard for some, like this model right here, Sportsworks Mayhem ST. Sportsworks is a discontinued company, so it'll be hard to even really get parts for these. But it's really nothing to worry about, because you can always find your way around everything, especially if you're having like a little Chinese knockoff kind of vehicle, like the old Nitro Exceed lineup and the old Nitro Red Cat lineup. They share parts with a lot of other rebranded models. Like the Exceed Madfire is one of my first nitros, and I think that is a copy of a Kyosho, I believe. Either a Kyosho or a Habaho Offna nitro buggy. And then you have the HSPC Rover. No, that's HSPC Rover, which I also have. There's a WRX, I believe it's called the WRX Blade, that shares literally the same chassis, same body and everything. And then there's also, the Red Cat Monsoon. That is another truggy. I believe it's just the same thing but rebranded to Red Cat or something. But anyways, that's something to keep in mind. Know that a lot of these are still universal. If you're having problems with an engine, if you don't know how to fix it, you can always just buy a new engine online. Because engines are still being made, I believe. And engines are still being sold. You can get a never used engine and then learn how to put it together, and that'll be it. If you know your way around things, just find the correct amounts. And I think you'd be good, to be honest. You can buy all kinds of engines. But, people, they're all crazy gimmicks and whatnot to get something to fit inside of a chassis. But also understand this. I think, in my opinion, now I'm just talking about opinions here, so don't get mad if I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about or whatnot. These are solely opinions, but I hope that my advice is giving people insight on what to do when they get a nitro. I'll also say that if you have a model, if you have like some sort of, like you got a Mayhem ST, you got just any vintage kind of Nitro RC, there's still a lot you can do with it. If I'm gonna be real with you, some models and some brands, they share the same exact chassis with other stuff. Like for example, the Exceed Madfire and the Exceed Mad Warrior. It's the truggy version of it, same wheelbase and everything. It's just a truggy body and truggy shock towers and everything. Truggy tires. But they have the same chassis. So if one model is out of stock, you can still look at the other model. You can even go on eBay. Go on eBay or go on some sort of like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Get a used version, because 9 times out of 10, there's somebody out there who has the same model as you that's not using their crap. Take their crap and take the parts off of it and use the parts as spares. That's what I suggest. Or you can get yourself a 3D printer so you can 3D print your own parts, I guess. I guess that would blow everything out of the water. You can always get some new A-arms and you can always get some new shock towers, I guess. But I understand like the convenience of just having the exact part and knowing what it is, where it's at. For me, like I have a 3D printer, but I don't 3D print RC car parts. So, just know, in general, it's an expensive hobby. You're gonna have to find your own way around things when you can't get what you need. Sometimes you can't always rely on brands, especially if it's a brand that's discontinued or it's a brand that abandoned their models from before. So you can definitely go on different places and get secondhand parts from anybody, especially the Mayhem ST. I believe it's the same chassis, same foundation as the Turmoil, whatever. It's like a buggy or something. But it's an award-winning buggy that Sportsworks created, or a competition-winning buggy that they then turned into a basher, and then they made the ST. This is the ST right here, and I know it has a spoiler and it has like it looks like it's kind of like a truggy, but it's really just a 4-wheel drive monster truck. That's what it is. It's an 8th scale. I believe I believe it's actually marketed as a 10th scale monster truck, because you know how 10th scale monster trucks have long wheelbases, so they kind of are as big as 8th scale buggies in a sense. But it's literally the 8th scale buggy chassis, I believe, and they put monster truck basher like parts on top of it and new shock towers. So I believe it's advertised as a 10th scale monster truck, but it's an 8th scale chassis and 8th scale wheelbase and everything. And the person that had this before tried to turn it into an 8th scale chuggy or whatnot. That's why they have like a spoiler and everything on it and whatnot. I was thinking it would be cool to have like adapters. What I originally wanted to do was get adapters for this chassis, or the adapters for the wheel hub, so I can put 8th scale truggy tires on it and not have to use 10th scale monster truck tires for it. But yeah, I don't know if what I'm saying is all like accurate either about the Sportsworks. You guys can definitely do your research about it and even tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm not trying to be right here, but these were my original plans like 8+ years ago with these vehicles. I wanted to make a competition like truggy and race it with a monster truck like base something. I was thinking of doing that to the T-Max originally. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm just gonna buy some sort of weird thing out there and see what I can do with it. But yeah, that's basically it. For you guys that want to get into Nitro, just keep in mind the factors. But don't be scared. Experiment. Get yourself the right tools. If you know how to weld, that'll be a plus. I don't know how to weld, but I knew that a lot of people from Nitro forums that said a lot, that did a lot of custom builds for their RCs. And like, if you know how to engineer things, that's a big plus in this hobby, because then you can make whatever you want, and you don't have to even think about a brand being discontinued. You can make anything. I saw people using Revos and turning them into Truggies, and racing Revos in competitions and stuff like that. The forums, RC forums, is awesome. I miss those days. That was when I was in middle school. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm thinking about doing a series on that stuff. And definitely I'll say Nitro is cool. Very cool. But keep in mind that it'll probably, the only thing that I'm worried about, honestly, about Nitro is that you won't have any more access to fuel. That's all I'm worried about. No access to fuel. If there's no access to fuel, then you're out of luck. You gotta make your own fuel or something, or you gotta raise gas. And then being in America, you know, by 2030, gas will be banned, so you can't run gas anymore. Everybody's gonna have to switch to electric RC cars. But I assume Nitro it's gonna be the same. So yeah, be adaptive, be creative. Understand that it's not all about racing, bashing. It's all about fixing and your skill level, your comprehension level, and what you think is best for your rigs. Have fun, and you know, learn from the experience. It's a great hobby. And now we got the Sportsworks Mayhem ST. Cool build, very cool looking model. I love it. I had a Proline body, but the Proline body broke. I had a Proline or a Hot Bodies D8 body or something that I had for it. Unfortunately, it's gone, but you know, it's new beginnings, you feel me? Any questions or anything, let me know. This is gonna conclude my part 1 to Nitro RC Talk. So this is the Trumo. I'm out. Peace out. We're gonna do a lot of videos. It's not only gonna be just talking, it's gonna be fixing, building, and dang, I should just call it RC Talk. Should I call it RC Talk or Nitro RC Talk? Probably like Nitro RC Talk. I'll do a separate series for electric vehicles. But yeah. You know, Nitro forever. I always love it. Peace.